It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
The New York Times reported that the private donor who gave President Trump $130 million to pay U.S. troops during the shutdown, that he is billionaire Timothy Mellon. And the donation appears to violate federal law. But what do you say to Americans who look at that and think it's President Trump, not Democrats, making sure that troops get paid?
Well, I think one of the reasons that President Trump is refusing to negotiate is because he likes the fact that the government is closed, because he thinks he can exercise king-like powers. He can open up the parts of the government that he wants. He can pay the employees who are loyal to him. I mean, this is a leader who is trying to transition our government from a democracy to something much closer to a totalitarian state. And so this is part of what happens in totalitarian states. The leader, the regime only decides what things get funded and what don't, often in coordination with their oligarch friends. So I just don't want to live in a world in which Donald Trump and a handful of billionaires decide which part of government works and which don't, which is why I would rather have him at the negotiating table tomorrow so that we can reopen the government and it can be a democratically elected Congress that decides what things get funded, not a handful of super rich dudes.
The New York Times.
No, y'all not listening, dog. Y'all not listening. You didn't listen to what he said about talking about the bill he proposed. You could block and hold people accountable for the government shutdown. I just want to make sure we listening to the same thing. You know, Republicans have the Senate and the House, right? You telling me you can't get 3 votes? The reason why you can't get 3 votes is because you got a partisan bill. You got to be bipartisan, brother. Brother, if you want to get it, if you want to get it all across the board, you got to work together. Y'all tripping. Y'all don't know where's the art of the deal? Where is the art of the deal when it comes to getting 3 Democrats to vote for you? I don't get it. But I guess y'all gonna blame Schumer. Blame Schumer when you got the House and the Senate. That makes perfect sense, right? Call it the Schumer shutdown when y'all had the Senate, the House, and the goddamn president. Y'all tripping.
It is day 26 of the government shutdown at the time of this recording, and military troops could be missing out on pay if this continues any longer. Let's break it down. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says by November 15th, troops could be missing their pay if this funding fight in Washington keeps going on. Bessent told Face the Nation that the Trump administration's plan to use $8 billion in leftover Pentagon funds will only cover troops' pay through the beginning of November. After that, the funds will run out. Bessent called the situation, quote, an embarrassment and blamed.
Bro, she said $8 billion? What is $130 million gonna do?
Democrats for holding up a deal. Meanwhile, Democrats are saying Republicans will not negotiate unless the government reopens first. It is day 26 of the government shutdown at the time.
I just want to get to this real quick. I want to get to this because I want to show y'all. This is what I want to get to my Republican side of TikTok because y'all ain't really saying shit, but y'all out here. They heard, but they not heard. Okay. The Republicans.
Trump's right, part 498. That's the focus of tonight's angle. They predicted economic Armageddon.
The nation is in tariff chaos. They are driving us toward a painful Republican recession.
The worst self-inflicted wound.
This is an economic Armageddon.
Total bunk.
The stock market has been telling us what to believe ever since Liberation Day. The stock market said this is not going to be the end of the world. Like so many, like almost unanimously, business reporters that tariffs were the end of the world. And here we are, up, what do we have, 36% since then? All right.
Hours after they said that, the Dow closed above 47,000 for the first time ever. When President Trump and Secretary Bessent told you not to panic last spring, and so did we, they knew what they were talking about. Tariffs were the most underutilized leverage points in America's arsenal.
Economically, the country is the strongest it's ever been. Thank God for tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we'd be a third world nation. But thank God for tariffs. We're the richest nation in the world now because of tariffs, and we're able to economically protect ourselves.
Turns out access to our marketplace is so valuable that foreign companies wanting to sell here have to eat most of their extra costs with minimal hit to U.S. consumers. Plus, American businesses are humming. The steelmaker Cleveland-Cliffs reported a jump in Q3 orders thanks to Trump's tariffs on steel and aluminum. It's now moving into rare earths as well. Trump's tariffs are bringing in about $30 billion in revenue each month. That is astounding. And the added benefit? No matter what propaganda Xi spews, China's getting creamed. Its factories are slowing production. Because the tariffs, of course, created a glut of goods that China can't sell. Oh, and it turns...
Now, I'm not going to debate that. Maybe this is true. Let's we got to wait it out. Let me look at my stocks real quick. I'm going to tell y'all right now. Y'all going to think
its property market is still struggling.
Y'all going to think I'm lying. If I'm lying, I'm flying. If I see the spike that they just had, goddamn.
But as top Trump administration officials are preparing to meet with President Xi, Chinese officials are putting on a cocky show, and they're talking smack about Trump behind closed doors. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Xi believes that he has cracked the code on Trump, which includes maximum pressure moves like its recent export controls on tech and rare earths. The new strategy embraces Trump's self-image as a master dealmaker, offering concessions on high-visibility issues he personally cares about, such as the fate of the popular video-sharing app TikTok, which sadly, and probably accurately, China knows is just spiritual opium to America. Trump's right, part 409.
Well, I mean, I am up from the past year, $645 just in the past year. That ain't bad. I mean, I guess the tariffs is working. The tariffs might be working. Hell, I don't know. I just invest. I don't even be knowing what I be investing in. I just SPL 500. Let me get 2 of those. I don't even be knowing.
I mean, these are insane numbers. States are now starting to release the actual numbers on what the Republicans' policy changes have done to health insurance costs with this legislation that they've passed this year. This is what the Democrats have been making a stink about. You've heard, Democrats are concerned in the shutdown fight about health care costs and health insurance, and you think, Democrats are always concerned about health costs. That's nice. I care about health costs. I'm glad they're standing up for it. No, it's this specific thing. You want to know what the Democrats are making a stink about with the shutdown? You want to know what the Democratic side is of the fight over the shutdown? Look at these numbers from the New York Times tonight. Look at this. This is for the tens of millions of Americans who get their health insurance through the online marketplaces. Look. Based on the newly posted information, meaning the pricing information that's now being posted in multiple states, a family of 4 making $130,000 in Maine, so you combine the family's income, everybody's salaries, you got to do $130,000, that family would face an increase in their annual health insurance premiums next year of $16,100. That's how much their health insurance premiums would go up. But maybe that's, that sounds like it's a fairly well-off family, and you think, oh, well, maybe that doesn't apply to me. I'm not quite in that kind of a bracket. Well, imagine you're in a couple, you're each 60 years old, and you put both of your salaries together combined, you make $85,000 a year. So maybe one of you's making $40,000 a year, maybe one of you's making $45,000 a year. Combined, your couple's income is $85,000 a year. In Maryland, your insurance premium is going to go up by $13,700. In Minnesota, your insurance is going to go up by $15,500. In Nevada, it's going to go up by $18,100. In Kentucky, the increase for you guys as a couple will be that you are expected to pay an additional $23,700.
I ain't gonna lie, that shit sound terrible. That's over $1,000. The last one is almost $2,000 a month. Yo, what? Where am I supposed to? We about to be insurance less. We ain't about to have no insurance for 2026. Shit, we gonna have to stay away from that doctor. We gonna have to Doctor Mom Robitussin. You break a leg, get some of that Robitussin out the cabinet. We gonna be sick in a motherfucker. Hell no. That's a lot. But I don't think that's particularly because of just Obamacare in general. I think that's because the one big beautiful bill. The one big beautiful bill is doing all this. Drop Obamacare, no more problem. Okay, yes. Then you'll use the Affordable Care Act, right, and get you some affordable health care, right? And then whatever, you can call it Trump care. Whatever you may choose to call it. Call it whatever you may choose it to call it. You're going to be shit out of luck regardless. You think Trump care going to be just... All right, let's get some Trump care then. Why haven't Trump did Trump care? I mean, this is his second term as president, not one Trump care. He ain't even proposed it because he don't care about y'all. Mind you, he don't care about y'all. He cared more about that ballroom than he cared about y'all. Y'all, I'm talking to the people who have to use the Affordable Care Health Plan, which is Obamacare. Trump has not spent one day. He's been too busy stopping wars. He ain't got time for that.
Per year. That is the amount of increase we are looking at in people's health insurance premiums. Can your family afford just randomly an additional charge of $24,000 for exactly what you're getting right now, for $24,000 less than that? I mean, these are insane numbers.
What's the cause of that?
This is what Republicans, in their policy changes on healthcare, what they have done to health insurance costs. And this specifically is what Democrats have been screaming bloody murder about. This is what Democrats have been drawing the line about in this shutdown, telling Republicans that this is the thing they need to fix.
Y'all about to be ass out. Ooh-wee.
Who paid the troops this month? Was it the American people? Or was it some billionaire with a secret agenda? Because that's what the Pentagon just did. They accepted a $130 million private contribution from an anonymous donor. We don't know who is paying that. We don't know if it's a foreign country. We don't know which billionaire it is who wants something in return. Because when someone gives $130 million to the United States government, to the military specifically, it is a slippery slope. When things get tough, they outsource our military. When things get tough, they want to privatize our democracy. They want to privatize our military and take away our...
I'm gonna give y'all, I don't want to give y'all my honest to God truth of what that might be, but I'm gonna tell y'all, if we start privatizing military, what's that leading to is, you know, somebody telling one person without going to Congress telling the military what to do. If you privatize the military, which in turn is the same thing we fight in Venezuela about. The same thing you fight because that's what the paramilitary is in Colombia and all these places, right? But I don't know nothing.
Well, Republicans in the House and the Senate, from the very beginning of the Trump presidency, haven't functioned like they are a separate and co-equal branch of government. What we've seen from Republicans in the House and the Senate is that they behave like a wholly owned subsidiary of Donald Trump and the Trump cartel. That's how they behave. A reckless rubber stamp for Donald Trump's extreme agenda, even when they're hurting their own constituents, because that's what Republicans did in the one big ugly bill. Largest cut to Medicaid in American history, ripped food from the mouths of children, seniors, and hungry veterans.
This is Fox News, people. This is Fox News. Fox News. I want y'all to pay attention to the Republican social media, because Republicans are too lazy. They too busy worried about getting their food stamps that they not posting right now, because they know if they say I'm a Republican and I'm waiting on my food stamps, that they are turning against the Republican Party. So they shut up during this time. But Fox News is not reporting on any of the big topics. In fact, Fox News just gave a rest in peace to June, some actor, I don't know who she is. She died. Instead of talking about the $130 million given to the government by a private donor, it's crazy that you don't talk about the biggest news story in the world. It's only the biggest. It's only the biggest. This is what they put out. Mystery Trump ally donates $130 million to help cover troops' paychecks. Where's the video? Where's your rebuttal? Where's the 5 at? No, they on break. It's the weekend. So tomorrow, if the 5 is not talking about this $130 million, I'm going to call cap on them. And that guy, that little devil buff that's always cutting that young lady off, that beautiful milk of magnesia, he always cutting her off. He gonna come in here and say some bullshit tomorrow. I know he is. Y'all know it.